So let me start this little video by stating that I actually never planned to make this little video. So here's the thing, I was happily scripting a video about the worst power-up in Super Mario Maker. We are talking a bit about the 1.3 power-ups and what they add to the game. We chat a bit about the eternal question whether the acorn suit or the cape feather are the better designed power-up. We hand out fuzzies like candy, as we should. And then I start to script the cat suit power-up part. And then I stop to script the cat suit power-up part and realize that almost half of the runtime of the video is now about the cat suit. So usually I'm a huge fan of putting too many ideas into a single video instead of too little, but you know, boundaries. Basically, this thing needs to be its own thing. So this video are basically my thoughts on the cat power-up and its implementation in Super Mario Maker 2. Because the cat power-up, or more specifically, how it is implemented in Super Mario Maker 2, is the perfect metaphor for everything that is wrong with the way Nintendo handles community topics and glitches in their games. That's going to be a fun one. So are you ready? Let's do this! So thorough investigation of the cat suit and its symbolic importance for the much bigger problem of Nintendo's messed up community and glitch management starts at the most logical point possible. Let's talk about the Fire Flower. All 2D Mario games since the original Super Mario Bros. Implemented the Fire Flower in a really interesting way. Whenever Mario eats one of those tasty flowers, he's able to shoot fireballs. But the button that spawns the fireballs is also the button that is used for running. This leaves us with a bit of an awkward situation. Whenever we are wearing a Fire Flower and want to run, then we have to throw a fireball to start running. Even if we only want to run, but don't want to murder one of Bowser's many loyal minions. So the reason why they implemented the Fire Flower like this in the original Super Mario Bros. Is probably just because, well, the original NES controller only has 2 buttons. But they decided to never change this design, even when they had way more buttons at their disposal. As a matter of fact, most Mario power-ups work like the Fire Flower. The Tanuki suit attack is mapped to the running button in every game where it appears. The Boomerang suit boomerang is mapped to the running button. The Acorn suit updrift and the Propeller suit twirl are mapped to the twirl button. Even Yoshi's tongue is mapped to the running button. So why did Nintendo never use one of the many unused buttons in the Mario games to give us more control over when to use the power-up? So there are probably many reasons, but one is, at least in what is objectively my opinion, that Nintendo far more valued simplicity and that using the power-ups stays intuitive over perfect control. If the Tanuki leaf attacks as soon as Mario runs, then no tutorial is needed. The first time we try to run after we get a Tanuki leaf is the second we learn that we are now able to execute a devastating tailspin. Mario's moveset stays completely the same, but it adds something on top of Mario's normal moveset. It's simple and elegant and intuitive, and Nintendo seemed to really like this idea of designing power-ups with as little button presses as possible, because even the hammer attack in Mario Maker 2 when wearing the builder outfit works like this, and that one is really debatable in my opinion. Anyway, so when it was time to design the cat suit for 3D World, they designed it like they always have. Here's how the cat suit works. If we press B, our cute Mario cat scratches. If we press B while in air, we scratch, and then we start our glorious cat super dive attack thingy. So basically all the cat specific controls are on the B button. It's like the Fire Flower and like the cape attack and like the cannon mask. It's classic Mario power-up design. It's simple, it's intuitive, you know, it's fine. But for whatever reason, the cat suit is completely different in Super Mario Maker 2. Here B always scratches, but using the glorious cat super dive attack thingy now doesn't happen if we press B. Instead, it is now tied to the shoulder buttons. To make things even weirder, cancelling the cat attack doesn't work like previously anymore. In 3D World, the cat attack ends as soon as we let go of the B button. It's super simple. Pressing B starts the cat attack, letting go of B stops it. In Mario Maker, pressing the shoulder button puts Mario into a glorious cat dive attack state that we can only leave by ground pounding or by pressing the button again. Pressing the button again always feels too slow. It takes this tiny bit too long to end the attack after the press for this to feel good. Also, Mario kind of weirdly decelerates when we hit the button. He just loses all his speed immediately. Honestly, I hate this. I played tons of 3D World, and whenever I get the cat suit in a Mario Maker stage, the following course of events happen in quick succession. First, I try to do a glorious cat super dive thingy in the air, which ends with Mario just scratching. Next, I think something along the lines of, oh, the dive is on the shoulder buttons in Mario Maker. Silly me, I hate this. So next, I press the shoulder button, but I haven't remembered that cancelling the dive requires an additional press in this game. I murder Mario. I remember how to cancel a dive in this game. So all of this would be bad enough, but there is this one thing that makes matters even worse. Far more worse. And it is the missing link between the catsuit and Nintendo's community management. Because I strongly suspect that the reason why the catsuit is implemented in this silly way is for the dumbest reason ever. Let's pull out our tinfoil hats, shall we? And let's quickly talk about a tiny conspiracy theory of mine. So there's this thing called cat momentum cancelling in 3D World. Basically, it is possible to build up a lot of speed and momentum by quickly cancelling a cat dive before landing and then by immediately starting a new one. That's one of the more interesting little tricks in the game, and mastering this little skill is incredibly rewarding. It is also one of the core components of 3D World speedruns. Anyway, so basically the catsuit allows us to gain tons of momentum by quickly cancelling the cat dive. I very strongly suspect that Nintendo never intended for this harmless trick, which means it is a glitch in their eyes. Alright, and now it is time to port the catsuit from 3D World over to Mario Maker, and the devs are worried on how to prevent this glitch from happening. So one way would be to embrace it, since it is honestly one of the coolest aspects of the catsuit and one of the most interesting aspects of the entire movement of Mario 3D World. That's not the route they decided to take Surprise Pikachu.jpg. Instead, they decided to rework the cat dive. Instead of keeping the momentum when a move is cancelled, Mario now suddenly slows down, which has the positive effect of preventing the cat momentum trick from happening, but the negative effect of feeling horrible. So I'm pretty sure that the reason why cancelling the dive feels so much worse in Mario Maker in comparison to 3D World is because they just take all of Mario's momentum in order to fix the cat momentum cancelling trick. So this next part is a bit tinfoily, but even if you don't agree, it shouldn't matter for the point that I'm trying to make. So basically I believe... No. I'm absolutely convinced that the nerf to Mario's momentum led to a chain reaction of consequences, which are the reason why the catsuit is implemented in such a silly way. Here's what I believe. No. Here's what definitely happened behind closed doors. Since the feeling of stopping the glorious cat super dive attack is now horrible, they decide that it is better if the move now puts Mario into permanent cat dive state that only ends if we press a button. This disencourages cancelling the move. But if we implement the move in this way, then we run into a new problem. And this is why I so strongly suspect that this is what happened. Because if the move is no longer activated automatically by holding B and cancelled by letting go of it, but instead starts with a button press and ends with a new one, then we can't have it on the attack button anymore. Because every attack would send Mario into a cat dive and he would only stop once we press B again. So a single attack would require 2 B presses and it would send Mario downwards for a while, even though we never intended for Mario to dive downwards. So how do we solve this? Well, by breaking 25 years of Mario power-up design tradition and by putting it onto another button. Hooray! We solved an issue that was never an issue to begin with by making a power-up more clumsy to control and by screwing over anyone who has a bit of 3D World muscle memory. Another job well done. Next, let's fix the icicles. Or at least that's how I believe it went down. That's obviously just a bit of a tinfoil theory of mine. The reason why they decided to implement the catsuit in this dumb way could be for any other silly reason. But what we do know with absolute certainty is that cat momentum cancelling is missing in Mario Maker 2, which means that Nintendo fixed something that wasn't broken. That's something Nintendo does way too often, especially with Mario Maker. Their biggest sin being the Icicle Incident. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the Icicle Incident, here's a super quick summary. Basically, there is this thing called global ground in Super Mario Maker. It's basically ground that never deloads. The interesting thing is that not only the ground never deloads, but also everything that we place on top of it never despawns. So we had global ground in Mario Maker 1, and it was one of the most important things for building huge and crazy contraptions like calculators or whatever. But in Mario Maker 1, we were always limited because all global ground options were part of the normal entity limit, meaning that we were only able to place down 100 of those. And then Mario Maker 2 got released, and would you believe it, everything that is on top of icicles is suddenly global ground. But icicles aren't part of the normal 100 items entity limit, which meant that we were able to put down global ground whenever and wherever we needed it, and that we didn't have to worry about it interfering with the normal entity limit. This made tons of crazy shenanigans possible, things that were unthinkable previously, and it was also a really cool and welcoming sign that Nintendo was aware that there were cool niche tricks in Mario Maker 1 and that they were willing to find nice little solutions to make the life of people easier that try to push Mario Maker to its limits. And then patch 1.2 hit, and they removed the global ground property of icicles without any warning or any explanation. Alongside with tons of other things. Some were small glitches, some were cool queso tricks, some were honestly things that I thought were features and completely harmless, and suddenly tons of things weren't possible anymore in the game. I remember tinkering with a cool contraption one day, going to bed, and the next morning the whole concept was suddenly just no longer possible in Mario Maker. Just as a note, we're not talking about game-breaking bugs like the black hole glitch here. We're talking about stuff where no one even knew that this was unintended before they removed it. There are dozens of such examples over the history of Mario Maker. But it is not only Mario Maker, they patched out tons of interesting little quirks and glitches out of many of their games. Let's take Odyssey as an example. They went out of their way and used development resources to patch out the wet nut jump. The nut jump is a small trick that allows us to fly by throwing and catching wet nuts. And yes, this only works with wet nuts, not with dry nuts. This little and funny quirk is useful for challenge runs and for speedrunning, and learning how to nut jump is actually really fun in itself. It's a fun part of the game and it doesn't break anything for anyone by any means. So why patch this? It's not even some kind of evil capitalistic dark corporation move. It actually cost them money to make their game this tiny bit worse. The only reason they patched this is because it wasn't an intended way to interact with the game to begin with. There is this famous statement that Hidetaka Miyazaki, the director of most of the Souls games, allegedly said. I can't find proof that he ever said this for the life of mine, but if he never said it, it's at least nicely made up. So the legend is that he was talking about the development of Demon Souls. Also, yes, I am aware that this footage isn't from Demon Souls, but from the Dark Souls remaster. The thing is, my cellar got flooded last week during a storm and my PS3 died a slow and presumably painful death by drowning during this horrible incident, so I can't record any Demon Souls footage currently. Wow, what a great way to start to talk about the main point of this silly little cat power-up video. Also shout out to Matthew Mathos' amazing Demon Souls commentary video, by the way, since it is the place where I first learned about the interview that may or may not exist. If someone knows where to find this lost interview, please leave me a comment. Anyway, so in the interview, which I can't find, Miyazaki said about the game, which you currently don't see, something along those lines. First a bit of context. There is a really funny unintended shortcut in Shrine of Storms, one of the game's levels. Basically, it is possible to roll over a ledge if we previously undress our heroic undead hero down to his undies. Rolling over this ledge skips most of the stage and brings us almost directly in front of the boss. So here's where this gets interesting. Basically, Miyazaki stated that this shortcut would have gotten patched out if they were to find it during development, but now that the game is released, he wouldn't patch it anymore, since it is something that the players found, that adds to the game and that makes the stage just this tiny bit more interesting. And this is the thing that Nintendo just never gets. Whenever the community finds a glitch, or an exploit, or a shortcut, or an amazing Mario Maker mechanic, then Nintendo never asks themselves, does this add to the game? They never ask, is the game more interesting because of this? Instead of asking, is this interesting, they always ask, is this intended? But that is just a completely wrong question to ask, because some of the coolest and most interesting things in Nintendo games were never intended. The Zero-Star Run in Mario 64, the out-of-order shiny collection madness that is Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Bros. Minus World, the wrong warps in the Ocarina of Time speedrun, or to come back to our topic, the cat momentum cancelling in 3D World. Those are all things that really add to the game. It's those small myths that we chat about online, that whole community is built around. Like, I was seriously amazed when the Wind Waker community finally found out how to surpass that stupid barrier in Hyrule. I will probably never do this myself, but nonetheless it kind of adds to Wind Waker as a whole. The same way Minecraft is a better game when I play it because of all the crazy things that other people build in the game, which I will never build. Mario Maker 1 is a better game for the fact that it is possible to build a Rubik's Cube in it. Is this level enjoyable? Honestly no, but the fact that it is possible makes Mario Maker 1 just so much cooler and this tiny bit more interesting in my opinion. The things that communities add to a game just kind of become part of it. Mario 64 is such a legendary game today because of all the insane work and discoveries of its community, not only because Nintendo made a really good game. Here is why this kind of worries me. Back in the good old days, Nintendo wasn't able to patch out glitches which the community found. Whatever the state of the game was when it released was the state of the game for eternity. But nowadays they go out of their way to get rid of unintended mechanics long after release, and their games lose some of their magic and longevity because of it, at least in my opinion. Think about the following. It is possible to reach the top of Peach's castle in Mario 64 before even collecting a single star. That's a neat little bit of Mario Mario 64 trivia. It's kind of cool, it's one of those small things that add to the game. You can go now into your cellar, take out your drowned Nintendo 64 with Mario, throw them away, buy a new Nintendo 64 with Mario, start the game and do it yourself. It's difficult, but it is possible on your own Mario 64 copy. Now think about this. It is possible to glitch through a lot of walls and to fly out of bounds in Super Mario Odyssey using Glide-On. That is, as long as you have a physical 1.0 copy of Super Mario Odyssey that isn't available in retail anymore, and as long as your Switch never ran a higher Mario Odyssey patch before. But if it did, don't worry, all that you have to do is to factory reset the console, and if you then forbid the game to communicate with Nintendo servers, then you can also clip through walls with Glide-On. That's just not the same. It is also something that worries me for the speedrunning community. It's a huge difference if the barrier to learn the speedrun of a game is to owe it versus to owing a 1.0 copy of it. There is this obsession within Nintendo that they only want people to make experiences in their games that they intended to be there, and that leads to them making a lot of very bad decisions. The craziest two examples of this that I am aware of are the removal of global ground icicles and the dumb way they implemented the catsuit in Mario Maker 2. If my little conspiracy theory is correct, which I assume, because it wouldn't be much of a conspiracy theory if I didn't believe in it myself, would it? So if the theory is correct, then that means that they're willing to implement the catsuit in the dumbest way possible, just to prevent people from using the cat momentum cancelling trick. Just think about this for a second. What this basically means is that Nintendo is okay with making their own games worse in order to ensure that no one does anything in the game they didn't intend them to do. Which finally brings us to the point of this whole video. Catsuit. That's only one single lonely fuzzy for you. I'm sorry, Catsuit, I know this isn't your fault, but they did you dirty and now you have to deal with the consequences. In theory, you would be a fine power-up, my dearest Catsuit, but sadly, you're also the best proof why Nintendo's current community and glitch management is so dumb. Because the path they're currently taking leads to them implementing a great power-up in a way that just makes it clunkier to control. It makes a simple design suddenly need an additional button. It transforms a cool, glorious cat super dive attack thingy into a suicide button, and it removes the global ground ability from icicles for absolutely no reason. And yes, I'm still salty about that. Before we end this little video, just one more thing. So the point of this video isn't to trash Nintendo or the games they make. Nintendo is a really strange company with a history of mind-boggling stupid decisions, but they also made many of the best games of all time, and they are really nailing it currently with the games they develop. Heck, I'm currently so trusting in Nintendo that I'm seriously considering buying Paper Mario Origami King, and I honestly thought that I'll never buy a Paper Mario game again. The point of this video is actually the opposite. I love their games so much that it really pains me to see how they alienate all the loving and enthusiastic communities that form around them over and over again. I honestly believe that there is a lot to gain, not only for all the communities, but also for Nintendo, if they finally stop being so unbelievably stubborn for all the wrong reasons. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and maybe feel especially like rating the catsuit should not take that many words and want to hit the subscribe button nonetheless. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!